Need computer training for a group or office? Contact us today to get a free demo of our training at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.
The Marquee Tools allow you to select basic shapes. You can create a selection that is either a rectangle or an oval. To make a selection using one of these tools, first select the Marquee Tools button in the toolbox, and then select either the rectangular or elliptical marquee tool from the Tool Options bar. Then you just click and drag from one corner of the selection area to the other, releasing the mouse button when you're finished. So let's take a look at all of the options that we have when making a selection using the Marquee Tools within the toolbox. First, start by making sure that you have the correct image layer from which you want to make the selection selected within the Layers panel. Then select the desired marquee tool that you want to use from the toolbox and toolbox options. Next, use the Tool Options bar to specify which selection setting you wish to use. New selection, add to an existing selection, subtract from a selection, or intersect with a selection. After you've clicked the desired button in the Tool Options bar, you can then select a feather option for the selection by adjusting the slider or typing in pixels the width of the border that should be feathered into the adjacent box. Feathering softens the selection border so that it is not clean and crisp. If you are using the elliptical marquee tool, you can also check or uncheck the anti-aliasing checkbox. With anti-aliasing enabled, the edges of the rounded selection appear less jagged than when anti-aliasing is disabled. Next, select an aspect ratio by using the aspect dropdown. If you select normal, then you will create a selection marquee by simply clicking and dragging. If you select fixed ratio, then enter a desired height to width ratio into the height and width text boxes. When you click and drag to draw the selection, the height to width ratio entered here will remain intact as you select. If you choose fixed size, then enter the specific size in pixels into the height and width text boxes. You will not have to click and drag to make your selection, but rather you will click once to create a selection of the size that you specified. Now to create a selection, just click and drag over the area that you want to select. Note that if you hold down the Shift key as you drag your marquee selection, it will draw a perfect square if using the rectangle marquee tool, or a perfect circle if you're using the elliptical marquee tool. Now after making your selection, you can refine the edges of your selection by clicking Refine Edge within the Tool Options bar. In the Refine Edge dialog box, you can use the sliders to adjust the edge by choosing Smooth, which removes jagged edges, Feather, which softens the selection edge by blurring it, Contrast, which increases the contrast of the selection edge, or Shift Edge, which will increase or decrease the selection edge. You will be able to see what adjusting the sliders does to your selection. When you're finished, simply click the OK button. Remember, if you wish to reposition a selection after you've drawn it, you can just click and drag from the center of the selection area and drag it to a new location. Then release it when it's in the correct place.
Like what you see? Get a free demo of our training for groups of 5 or more at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.